Hey everybody, it's the OMAD Dad. Welcome back to my YouTube channel, a channel that's dedicated to living the OMAD lifestyle or eating just one meal a day. Before I get into the heart of this video, I want to just give a big heartfelt thank you for all of the awesome positive comments and thoughts and messages I've been receiving since my last video. Those of you who haven't seen it, in my last video I mentioned how I was separated from my job and lost my position, and it definitely threw me for a loop, and it kind of stung and hurt a little bit, but you know, it's nice to come on here and see all of the positive comments that I got, and you know, all of the hopes and the prayers that everybody was offering me. You know, I do this channel for you guys. I do this because of you guys, and I love getting the comments. I love getting emails and questions, and it's you guys that keep me going. So thank you all very, very much for that. I know I haven't done a video in a little while. We're also on top of everything. This month is my anniversary, my daughter's 5th birthday, which we just had, and we have Memorial Day coming up, and we're also moving. So yeah, new job too. There's definitely a lot of stress. So we like to keep things complicated over where I am, but you know, I'm sure many of you understand. Now, as I dissect this, I want to mention again, as I've said before, that I don't like to bring politics in this channel because I really don't feel that there is a fit for it. But sometimes in this country, food and politics sometimes get intertwined. So, I mean, what have we been reading in the past week here in the news about President Biden's climate change plan, about how he wants to attack climate change? And of course, the headlines are going crazy. And what does it equate to, folks? Well, everybody's saying they're coming for your cheeseburgers. I just have to shake my head here. So those of you who haven't been following this, it's been proposed that we should do a number of changes within the next 10 to 20 years in an effort to curb climate change. One of which includes reducing our beef consumption to the equivalent of about a quarter-pound cheeseburger a month, and no more than that. There's also some other things here too, and did you see this article from the Daily Mail about how it could increase your taxes by another $3,500 a year, force you to spend almost $60,000 in an electric car, upgrade your, if you don't have it already, upgrade you to an electric heat and water heaters in your home, et cetera, et cetera. So first I have to say, here it is more fear-mongering that are put in the minds of American people. It does affect us on this channel because, well, you know, we are trying to deal with environmental issues. OMAD does tackle that very well, in my opinion. And I know many of you eat beef. Some of you are keto. Some of you are more carnivore. Some of you on this channel that watch this are vegans and are actually happy about this news. But I want to dissect it really quickly because there's already had to been several retractions. One of these retractions is right here, how Fox News had to admit that they were wrong about all of this. And the reason for that is because President Biden has not announced any specifics about what he's going to do to tackle the climate change issue, including forcing everyone to stop eating as much beef. Okay, so you can just kind of calm down right there. Right, they're not going. The Gestapo is not going to be knocking on your door tomorrow saying, "Hey, get that cheeseburger out of your hand." McDonald's isn't going to be going out of business anytime soon. So let's just stop right there. Okay. But one of the people who are at the forefront of this is the same person that's been behind the very controversial topic of vaccines and trying to get more people vaccinated and whatnot, and who some believe is a pretty shiesty character himself, is Bill Gates, because Bill Gates, as you can see from this article here, is suggesting that all rich nations should shift over to synthetic beef, instead of actual beef, in an effort to save the planet from environmental damage. So I know a lot of you have seen the synthetic beef popping up in your grocery stores. I have, and it's completely plant-based. In my opinion, it's completely chemical-based. It's not real food. It's even showing up in your meat department, which is kind of ironic. I don't know if any vegans who would feel comfortable going into the meat section to go and buy plant-based meat. But Bill Gates is a pretty major player in the world. Very well known, very wealthy, and influential. Sorry. So when he and other scientists are saying things like this, a lot of people take note, and especially if we're going to save the planet. And that's. But let's dissect this here for a second. Is McDonald's and Burger King going to go out of business if we switch to synthetic beef? No, they're not going to be hurt at all. They'll just sell anything. It doesn't even matter, at least in their eyes. Who it's going to hurt are the small farmers, the local people. It's going to take them out of business, and it's going to centralize everything. It's ridiculous, and I have several issues with this, and I'll tell you why. Number one, I've been in contact, and I talk online to quite a few people who have left packages and of this synthetic beef out in the wild, and then have gone back and checked on it. They tried feeding it to their livestock. They've tried feeding it to their animals around, and in every instance, they've said that no animal will touch this stuff. And why is that? Because it's a blend of all of this weird crap. Nobody really knows what's in this stuff, even when they tell you the ingredients. It's just garbage. It's not like it's just pure beef. It's loaded with nutrients, okay? And if you're vegan, I'm sorry that you feel that beef has no nutritional value. It does. Can it be done better? Is the factory farm system flawed? Absolutely. But the other thing that's not mentioned, and I want to go into this video, is how is it really going to actually help anything? And I'm going to give you a couple examples. In one of my past videos, I mentioned about how one of my staples that I like to buy pretty much weekly are bananas. I mean, it's a real food, and they're always pretty cheap at the grocery store. No matter what grocery store you go to, I think I pay for around 50-60 cents a pound here, which makes it much better of an option than a candy bar when you're thinking about it. But the bananas that I get in my local grocery store come from Guatemala. Now, I check that out from where I live in my little neck of the woods over here in New England. That's 3,600 miles away. Does it make sense that something that was grown 3,600 miles away, shipped over to America, trucked all the way over to my little area of the country, could be 50 cents a pound? There is a price to pay for that, and we are destroying the economies of the world, and we are destroying the planet on top of it, and with massive pollution. It just simply doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense that an apple that is grown 2 towns over from where I live is 2 to 3 times more than an apple that was grown in another country and imported over to here. It just doesn't make sense. And there's a way of doing that, and it involves going into other countries, destabilizing their economies, and getting to the point where they have whole areas of their country that only grow one particular crop. It ruins the lives of the people that are over there. We then have to use a massive amount of fossil fuel, water, and you name it to get this to come over to here to be this cheap and effective. If you ever looked at canned fruit, for example, often the fruit is grown in one country, shipped over to another country for packing, and then shipped back over to our country so that we can enjoy it for about $1 a can. This simply shouldn't be. It doesn't make sense that if I'm looking for grass-fed beef, that I could get it for $6 a pound from New Zealand, which is 9,000 miles away from where I live, that it would be 3 times cheaper than grass-fed beef that is grown on a farm in the next town over from me, that I get at the farmer's market, that uses almost no fossil fuels for me to get. Very, very little. I mean, think of the amount of fossil fuels that are used to go and pick up grass-fed beef, as an example, that's 9,000 plus miles away. That's what the real issue here is. And we need to get thriving local economies back. We need to get, as they would in European countries like Italy and France, for example, who take great pride in things that are grown locally, and they develop their economies and they develop their cuisines and styles of eating based around what grows locally and when and what's available. You wouldn't, in that sense, you don't see people in some of those areas having a very seafood-rich diet if they don't live anywhere near the ocean. It would be the equivalent of, how fresh and how awesome would the fish be in, say, like Montana or Nevada. All of that stuff has to be flown in. So this is obviously a very heated issue, and there's a lot to take into it. And even within my own career, it just doesn't seem right that, ultra processed foods, which are high in fat, high in sugar, really processed, loaded with sodium, how these foods are way cheaper than the healthy foods that we as food educators and those of us who are involved in the education system that direct the food choices for your children. It doesn't seem right that those ultra garbage foods are way cheaper than anything that's fresh. And studies have shown that when you give kids like great fresh foods, take the sugar out of the school, take the sodas out of the school, that they concentrate better, their grades improve, they do better. We need to shift our priorities in this country, and we're not going to save the world because we've stopped eating beef, steaks. This is real food, sugar, Cheetos, ho-hos, ding-dongs. This is not real food, okay? This is garbage. There are a lot of people that can't even tolerate this stuff. A lot of people who find their way to this channel, and many like it, have adopted a more ketogenic way of eating, a high-fat, low-carbohydrate diet, i.e. real foods, and they found that the weight comes off very easily. It's very easy to do OMAD, that they feel better, they operate better. This is what we need to be focusing on. How can we make life better for everybody, while at the same time tackling the real issues on this planet? But we're never going to get that way in this, corporatocracy, this oligarchy way of looking at things. So I just wanted to give my quick thoughts on this. You won't see me eating any less beef anytime soon. I don't go crazy with the beef as it is, but beef represents a good chunk of my diet. I don't say even 25%, but beef is something that's regularly on my plate. And you know what? It's real food. It has one ingredient. It has one ingredient. It is beef. That is it. Not the 17, 18 ingredients that comes with plant-based sludge that they call meat. So the way we're going to save the planet is not by forcing everybody to buy electric cars and forcing them to stop having their favorite burger. This isn't the problem. This isn't the problem with health. It isn't the problem with the climate change. What it is the way, in a corporate sense, the way we rape and pillage and take advantage of other countries in third world countries in an effort to save a little bit of cash and make things cheaper for us. So many people out there don't have any clue and no idea where their food comes from, how it's gotten to the table, and the effect of you getting affordable almond milk, affordable bananas, affordable chicken. A good portion of our pork in this country, for example, comes from other countries. We don't even know. You don't even realize where half of the food that you eat every day even comes from. And I'm talking about beyond your local grocery store. You even ask a lot of the people from the grocery store, they'll tell you, well, it comes off the truck. I don't know. The food that you buy from your farmer's market that was raised locally always tastes better. Why? Because it's done right. It doesn't travel all over the place. It's not picked prematurely. The produce, for example, isn't picked prematurely and gassed, so that, in other words, to make it look shinier, make it be processed better. There is a night and day difference between an omelet that I make from conventional eggs at my grocery store at $1.99 a dozen and the ones that I get at the farmer's market. The ones at the farmer's market always taste 100 times better. But for a dozen eggs at my local farmer's market, they're around $7 to $8 for a dozen. And I can get a dozen of them, regular price, for about $1 or $2 at my local grocery store. So when you are faced with that decision, what are you going to do? My advice, folks, is there are probably going to be some major changes coming, particularly with regards to climate change. So get used to it now. Get used to eating less. Get used to cutting back. And in my opinion, we need to we have to stop consuming our way out of this problem. I do think climate change is an issue on this planet. Pollution is definitely an issue on this planet. But we're not going to get there by buying more stuff and creating more and using more. We're going to get there by cutting back. And so how do you do that with food? I present to you OMAD. That's how you do it. You ask anybody who's been doing OMAD for any length of time, they'll tell you they can't believe how much food they used to eat compared to what they eat now. And they are doing just fine. They're thriving. They have some days where they may slip a little bit and cheat. But overall, you compare it to what they were eating and in volume, complete night and day difference. This is how you're going to help save the planet, doing things like OMAD. And eating real food, it's going to not only just help the planet, and especially eating locally, it's also going to greatly improve your health. So these are just some of my thoughts on here. A lot of this was just fear-mongering. A lot of this was just trying to get people riled up. A lot of times they release a story like this just to test the waters, to see how you'll respond and see how crazy everybody gets over it. Let me know your thoughts in the section below. What do you think about it? Send me an email. Send me a comment down below. I'd like to hear your thoughts. See what you think, and see if you've seen these articles. If you saw these stories on the news and how it made you feel. I'd like to know. But that's it for me for today. I hope you guys are doing well on your OMAD journey. And again, you can always write me with comments. You can email me or you leave a comment down below. Any questions, any comments that you have. But I hope your journey is going very well for you. And thank you again for being there for me. You guys are like my extended family, and I do appreciate it. So that is it for me for today. Have a great week. Have a very happy OMAD, and be well.